Hi guys, hope you're doing well. My video today is gonna be a summary of the introduction and first chapter from one of my favorite books, The Emotional Life of Your Brain, by Richard Davidson, PhD, with Sharon Bentley. And excuse my accent, of course, if I didn't pronounce their names right. So Davidson is one of the leading neuroscientists specialized in behavioral neurology and neuroanatomy. His research specifically focuses on affective neuroscience and also on the effect of meditation on the brain, and therefore on emotions and emotional styles. Just before I start, I'd like to shed the light on the fact that this book is based on a PhD and some years of research in neuroscience labs using actual brain imaging. So we're serious in here. Now let's start with a short summary. As the title of the very first chapter of the book suggests, one brain does not fit all. People react differently to external factors from their environment, or in other terms, life situations, whether these are a source of happiness or anxiety or sorrow or anger. For example, when faced with some kind of loss, one person can be resilient and overcome its grief quickly in order to get back on track, while another person can simply give up and drown in a long depression. This difference certainly has a reason. Just like every human being is characterized by their unique and different DNA or set of genes, which determine every single aspect of their body, for instance, he or she has a very unique and specific pattern in their brain activity, which determines the way he or she reacts to the external life ups and downs. This is called their own emotional style, and it's based on the activity and kind of circuits in the brain. One person, for example, is able to get over a breakup very fast and get back to living a normal life, while another one will grieve for an entire year or maybe more and can even fall into a very deep depression for a very long time. An argument with a significant other in the morning, for example, can ruin the entire day of one person, while another person is able to forget about it in an hour and goes on with their day just normal as ever. Thus, each person would react depending on their own emotional style. According to Davidson in this book, there are 6 different dimensions of emotional styles, and each dimension is similar to like a spectrum with 2 extremes. The first dimension is the resilience style, which determines if you are fast or slow to recover from life challenges. For instance, if you arrive to the airport and your flight is delayed, do you shout at the agent, yell at your family, and claim that bad luck is your best friend all the time, always and ever? And then after that, your whole trip is ruined? Or do you just take a little while and just move on normally, thinking that everything's gonna probably be just fine and enjoy your trip after? The outlook style, which determines whether you're normally optimistic and positive or normally pessimistic and negative, just in life in general. Now, the third dimension is the social intuition style, which determines how well you can read other people's body language. If you're social intuitive, for instance, you're able to notice if the person you're having the meeting with is bored or interested by your presentation, if they're comfortable or not, for example. The other extreme of this dimension is puzzled. The self-awareness style is the fourth one, which determines if a person is aware of their own thoughts and feelings, or do they actually need someone else to mention it to them to make them know, for example, that they're angry. For example, A self-aware person would know that in that moment he yelled at his kid, it wasn't because he was angry with him as much as it was because he had a bad day at work, for example, or he's in a bad mood like from a week ago. So he'll know. However, a self-opaque individual can be grumpy all day and not even notice it until someone else mentions it to him or to her. The fifth dimension is the sensitivity to context style. The two extremes of this dimension are tuned in people who are the ones aware of the conventional social interaction rules, while the tuned out people wouldn't really realize that it's inappropriate, for example, to tell the same joke you just told your wife or best friend to your boss at work. And finally, the last dimension is the attention style, where the first extreme is focused people and the other one is unfocused. For example, unfocused people can't accomplish their tasks at work as normally when they have had a bad day. Or in other terms, their performance and focus is rather affected by external factors and their emotions and like life ups and downs. So basically, everyone can assess their own emotional style using the results of the questionnaire built by Davidson in his book. I actually recommend that because it's so interesting. You'll know how you were like 5 years ago, what emotional style you were, and then now, if you evolved or even not. So now, where do these different emotional styles come from? Where are they based, and what are they related to? So according to Davidson, each dimension of these emotional styles depends on a certain biological activity specific to a particular part of your brain. One very interesting example showing how our thoughts affect our brain activity is what Davidson calls the virtual piano experiment. So they gathered a number of volunteers and taught them a simple 5-finger keyboard piece. Half of these volunteers were asked to practice multiple times by actually playing music on the keyboard, and the other half were asked to just imagine playing it multiple times. Neuroimaging showed the same significant expansion in the motor cortex area of both groups. So the motor cortex area is the brain part responsible of moving the fingers. Therefore, even just thinking had the exact same effect on the brain activity. And now comes the most interesting question. Is this unique brain activity pattern or even circuit that characterizes each one of us fixed, and that's it, and this is how we're designed, and this is how we're going to spend our life? Aren't we going to evolve or anything? Well, thankfully, it's not. The good news are that the brain is characterized by a property called neuroplasticity, which means that its activities and functions are able to be significantly modified. Therefore, an individual's emotional style can also be modified or even controlled by either the different life experiences of an individual, or if these didn't change our emotional styles yet, we can practice mental training in order to improve ourselves and to be the closest version of who we dream to be. Well, as a matter of fact, this is only a very brief summary of the very first 1/10 of the book. It's a super interesting, informational, and scientific book. It has a lot of neuroscience. It's very, very mind-blowing and interesting. It covers a huge number of topics, facts, examples, and a lot more. Let me know, please, what was your favorite and most interesting part of this video? And feel free to share your thoughts, ideas, or even personal experiences if you relate to anything that I mentioned in the comments section. Also, let me know if you'd like a similar summary for each chapter of this book, or if you have any questions or discussions. I'll be more than happy to engage with you guys. Finally, I hope I helped you learn something new today. Thank you so much and have a wonderful rest of the day or night, no matter where you live on this planet.